Officials at the UC Berkeley campus have now canceled a speech by Breitbart News editor Milo Yiannopoulos after violent protests broke out on the California campus. Dozens of demonstrators are surrounding the building where the speech was supposed to take place, throwing smoke bombs and flares. Right now, the whole campus has been placed on lockdown. The protesters have been ordered to disperse. However, many have opted to stay put. The protests have been going on for a few hours, but they really got out of hand just over an hour ago. It's believed the crowd used a mixture of throwing objects and so forth. We're talking about maybe students and teachers, people from the outside. So far, we have not heard about any arrest or if anyone has been injured. Once again, violent protests breaking out tonight on the campus of UC Berkeley, forcing the cancellation of a speech by Breitbart News editor Milo Yiannopoulos.
Welcome back to Hannity. So liberal snowflakes all across America, they're in full freakout mode over President Trump, including our friend, the co-host of The View, Whoopi Goldberg, who actually compared President Trump to the Taliban. Watch this.
We have a leader who has repeatedly demeaned women, wants to defund organizations that benefit women, calling on the media to shut up, specifically wants to give preferential treatment based on religion. Are these values really much different than the Taliban's?
Now, while Whoopi was comparing President Trump to a group of Islamic radicals, the Trump administration is working hard to defeat Islamic extremism. And today, they put the rogue regime in Tehran on notice. And here's National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Listen to this.
President Trump has severely criticized the various agreements reached between Iran and the Obama administration, as well as the United Nations, as being weak and ineffective. Instead of being thankful to the United States in these agreements, Iran is now feeling emboldened. As of today, we are officially putting Iran on notice.
Putting Iran on notice. Joining us now, Deputy Assistant to the President, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, it was something I will never be able to wrap my mind around, and that was President Obama negotiating with the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, paying a ransom to them, and similarly paying all of the billions of dollars that he gave them and allowing them to continue to spin their centrifuges. How should Iran interpret that threat? Because to me, that's a line in the sand. And there's a new president in town that I would take more seriously than Obama's red line as it relates to Syria.
Sean, I think the message is deadly clear to our enemies and our adversaries. We don't have a national security team made out of 28-year-old grad school students who have degrees in fictional writing. We have a very serious national security team. We have a national security advisor who was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, who almost single-handedly revolutionized the way we exploit intelligence in the battlefield. We have a set of principals, such as General Kelly, General Mattis, who are now in civilian suits running the agencies that protect America. And today, we sent a very clear message. We recognize that Iran isn't just another country. It's not Belgium. It's not Trinidad and Tobago. It is a state sponsor of terrorism that is destabilizing the region. And for the liberals out there, they're actually in flagrant contravention of a United Nations Security Council resolution on ballistic missiles.
If I were Iran, the mullahs of Iran, I would listen to Donald Trump, and we see how Donald Trump is, and we see his defense team, of which you are a big part of, and I would interpret that to mean that if they do this one more time, then I would expect the United States probably partnering, interestingly enough, with countries like Israel, maybe even the Saudis, maybe the Egyptians, maybe even the Jordanians and others, and taking out those nuclear sites once and for all. Do you think they're smart enough to understand that there's a new sheriff in town?
The trouble with Iran, Sean, is it's a combination of two deadly things. Dictatorships are bad enough, but this isn't just a dictatorship. This is a theocratic dictatorship. These are people who at the top level believe in the occultation of the hidden imam and that the apocalypse may be just around the corner, and they want to make it happen even faster. So I can't talk for the mullahs in Iran, but we wish to support those people who are under the heel of individuals such as these theocratic dictators.
You know,
so we have to send a message, and I think the message was sent.
I think a line was drawn. It's going to be very interesting to see the difference between a Trump administration and an Obama administration. Let me go back to Whoopi Goldberg comparing the president to the Taliban. Just like on her show, they have talked about women building walls around their body parts and erectile dysfunction, about women that wouldn't sleep with their husbands because they voted for Donald Trump. Well, what do you make of all of that and some of this other rhetoric coming out from the left? I want your interpretation.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. I am a nasty woman. I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust. I am not as nasty as your own daughter being your favorite sex symbol. Like your wet dreams infused with your own genes. We are here to be nasty. I'm nasty, like my blood stains on my bed sheets.
What do you make of this leftist, liberal, Obama, Hillary supporting freakout every day? Does it matter? Should it matter?
We are the greatest nation on God's earth, and part of that is the freedom of speech. So everybody has the right to do this, as long as they're not inciting violence. That's a very
Thinking
important
about blowing
line.
up the White House?
Yes,
Is that inciting violence?
If it gets more concrete than that, then yes, and measures have to be taken in terms of investigating whether that's just empty rhetoric or something more than that. But the fact is, it's just a symptom of the last 8 years, Sean. There is this left-wing media, this elite Hollywood, what did Ben Rhodes call it? An echo chamber that he was proud of leveraging. But it doesn't represent the backbone of this nation that elected Donald J. Trump to protect them. So they're just disconnected. For the left, reality is optional. But there's a man who wants to protect all Americans, and that's why things such as the executive measure on immigration is so incredibly important.
All right, Dr. Gorka, always good to see you. Thank you, sir. And coming up, conservatives, they're very happy with President Trump's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, Jay Sekulow, and former